Hey, Husky fans, welcome to Fourth and Inches, a Drew as a Party fan podcast. I am your host, Leah. Joining me is Trevor Mueller and Coach V. Last week, the guys talked about the offense. Today, it's all about the defense. And, maybe if there's time, some Marvel movie chatter. Who knows? We're going to go ahead and start off with talking about our new defensive coordinator. He comes in from Purdue. Purdue didn't have a great year or a great decade, but he is a defensive-minded coach, and we were able to snag him. So, what do you guys think about the new DC?
I listened to Joe Klatt talk about him and how Purdue didn't support him. And my question to Joe Klatt is when has Purdue since you know, uh,
2000.
yeah, Drew Brees have they supported a football program? So getting Ryan Walters is a huge deal. The record was never good. The talent in the program wasn't good. They're one of those teams that I feel like really makes me upset that the Pac-12 died and teams like Purdue and a couple of these teams at the bottom, the Northwesterns are still in a major conference when our Cougs and Beavs are houseless. So um, even with the matchup issues that he had, the talent issues on the defensive side of the ball, he was able to give some of these upper echelon teams a problem or a game more than they probably should have with the talent that they had on the roster. So I think bringing him to a place where you're gonna have, this roster is so much better than it was last, or deeper than it was last year. I think is nothing but good things as we have, the former the national championship champion coming in, and some of the other powerhouses that we have on our roster or on our schedule.
Well, also, it's good to kind of see, his roots go back a few more years to his Illinois days. And they had obviously like guys like Devin Witherspoon and just a cast of, they had a really amazing secondary back then. And that's going to be a key for this defense because trusting those back end guys when you're singling up and you're bringing pressures and stuff, like you got to be able to trust the corners to stay in phase with the receivers, and you just not always giving zone or not giving help. And so, we're going to see a lot of five-man front. We're going to see a lot of heavy fronts. We're going to see a lot of, just getting in the face of the offense and trying to put pressure on guys. But it would be really helpful if the back end guys like Decario and Prysock, and if they could kind of imitate what those Illinois guys did about 3 or 4 years ago.
How different is it going to look with Ryan Walters at the helm versus what we saw last year with Belichick?
I think, and I've probably made this complaint several times during the season last year, where I feel like Belichick's defense was exotic for the sake of being exotic and just weird and trying to be unpredictable. But the problem was we didn't have the personnel up front to kind of be, fundamentally sound all around. So it was a lot of like desperation. I'm gonna, bring people from all over the place and just see what sticks. And a lot of times, we looked okay, and then sometimes we looked really good, and then other times we just got steamrolled. And that's more a function of personnel than anything. But I think when you realize that your personnel is less than what the opponent is, you just start desperately kind of throwing things together. And it wasn't necessarily the most fundamentally sound thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
So, would you regard this as a pretty big upgrade?
Well, that remains to be seen, but the upgrade happened in the portal this year. I mean, the
Right.
defensive line alone is hopefully going to be a huge deal for us.
We can go ahead and start with personnel. What do we think about the interior defensive line, like you just said, Coach?
I am so excited to see a fully unleashed Ontario Thompson. Just the body type, the 315, 320-ish pound guy that moves the way he does. Former Iowa guy that had to, he transferred around a little bit, and he's with us, and that was a pretty big snag in the portal. He's the type of guy we didn't get last year, although we tried. But I mean, we've got a cast of characters, and so the thing is, when we go with five, like five down defensive linemen. We've got some big bodies in there, like him and Uyunglele. He's kind of like an edge-ish, sort of like he can move inside, bump inside, reduce sort of like three technique on passing downs. Peppa, obviously, he's going to get a lot of run. Um, Sagapolo, I think he's been hurt a lot this year, just kind of nicked up in camp. But he slimmed down. What is he, like 340 now instead of 365?
Yeah, he's
So
listed at 345.
he is going to be huge. So that interior nose tackle rotation, if it's those two guys, I feel really good about that. And I didn't necessarily feel good about it last year. And there's kind of evidence to suggest that we weren't very good last year at times, especially when we lost Parker and we lost a couple guys. And the depth was such a huge issue for us last year. So now it looks pretty good.
And you're also the depth is just so much better than it was last year. You still have Alenius Davis, who made some plays last year. You have Bryce Butler, who's back to 100%. You have both the Parker brothers, who one of them's been nicked up, but it sounds like they're both going to be good to go at the start of the season.
Yeah,
So,
Javon has been kind of held out of stuff,
mhm.
but yeah, both of those guys obviously being back is
And
kind of
this will be Armand's like first time actually being fully healthy going into a
yeah,
season.
that's
So,
wild.
and you know they're twins. They were both 3 stars, but Armand was a little bit higher, more highly ranked than Javon coming out. And Javon's played really well in his time at Washington so far. So you just look at when it comes to the dog days of getting into November and having these running games with places that these programs that don't have quarterbacks that just want to run it down your throat. Washington now has guys that aren't going to be so beat up and like you think about Jacob Bandis who was in the program for like 12 years
Yeah,
and couldn't
conservatively.
stay healthy and just didn't develop the way that maybe he could have if he was more healthy. He just got worn down by the end of the year. And now you have so many guys that you can throw in there to keep bodies fresh.
And they got a couple young guys that aren't probably going to factor in the rotation. I love Omar Khan
Hmm.
and I love Dominic Macon, and these guys are just kind of have to like maybe get some garbage time snaps here and there, and just maybe they see some time this year, maybe they don't. But as these guys graduate and move out, go pro, whatever, like I really like the look of those guys from their high school film. And Khan's was a really good wrestler in Texas. I think I want to make sure that he sticks around and he just he waits for his opportunity, because I feel like he's going to be a very solid player.
Right, and then I mean, you get 4 games plus a bowl game, and I just think that there's times that they will be factors in games, so it's not like he's going to be sitting on the bench the entire season. And defensive tackle, they just get beat up so much that you need depth like this to be able to make it through a season and be successful, and not give up a million yards to Penn State.
Might be a good game like to throw him in there in the first two games or against like Purdue or against another team where we should win, but like maybe we save our A1 guys for more high intensity snaps.
Purdue's a really interesting game because they should blow them out of the water and it's at home and they'll get that experience. But I also wonder about like a Maryland or something where
Mm.
it's a road test as well, and it's not that you have to get them all in there and get close to burning a red shirt, but if you can get Omar Khan in on the road in a Big Ten environment, I don't see that as being a bad thing, especially if you can preserve his red shirt if you need to.
I know a lot of people are worried about that Maryland game, like when they talk about like road traps. And I'm not saying Maryland's like some, contender in the conference, but at the same time, they do some stuff. They're one of the more offensively competent programs. They might not always have the best talent, but they've been producing some NFL guys here and there. And it's an extremely long trip across country, and those are always like you kind of wonder about that. The Rutgers game last year was a unmitigated disaster, and it has
Was.
sort of the same vibe.
Well, and the problem with that game is there was so many things that went wrong for Washington. You block a kick and they end up getting the ball. Grady Gross misses 3. Come on.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about that. I've seen there was some guy who I don't even know what he's with, but I saw him on Twitter put Washington at 10-2 on the season with two losses in a row. And I got to tell you, I could see them losing to Ohio State, but I feel like if they lose to Ohio State, there's going to be a lot of focused energy on getting back in the win column. I'd actually be a little more worried about the game if they won it because of the letdown after such an emotional game, other than like I just don't see a competent program run by Jedd Fisch and the players that are in this program like sulking in a Big Ten environment where visitors were vastly overmatched away from their home stadiums, regardless of what team you were. So I just don't. I see that Fish and the competent coaches in this conference are going to find a way to get their players to have a uh, better results on the road.
I agree with you. I think that your logic is very sound. I think if we lose to Ohio State, we're not going to lose to Maryland for the very reason that you stated that. And for the equally the opposite, if we beat Ohio State, that has all the makings of a trap game. So it's going to be really incumbent on the staff to make sure that those kids take that team very seriously.
I I really do believe that this is a much better team than they were last year, but it's still the road. It's
Yep.
still a road game
Still a
in
loss until it's
conference.
a win.
You don't know what the weather's going to be like in Maryland at that time, and it's like, okay, we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
but man, defense travels so much better than offense, and it's clear by this defensive, at least the defensive front in the middle. I see this as such the most improved part of the roster that offensive teams aren't going to be able to run all over them like they were able to do, and where I mean Washington was out of the whiteout game before it started, right? There's a couple of games on the road where they just Iowa and Penn State, they just couldn't stop the run, which led to a snowball effect. This interior is not going to let them take the air out and just bludgeon us to death.
I completely agree. And just based on what you guys are saying about the depth that we have that we did not have last year, I think that will help us out a lot in games like that where, gosh, we're giving up more yards than we're accustomed to, maybe at home, but we are not like, well, and we have no backups. It sounds like we don't have that problem this year as much. So let's move on to edge. Is our boy Zach Durfee going to be healthy?
He looks
Knock on
good right
wood.
now.
Knock on wood. I'm excited for him just because it's been a weird couple years for him. Remember when he was going through the is the NCAA going to clear him or not? And then he came back at the very end of with our playoff run, and then got hurt again. And then last year with the not one but two turf toes, and that is the most painful like injury that doesn't seem like it would be because I had it when I was in high school and it was horrible. And he had two of them. So I don't even know. Like he should have just got a little golf cart to go around campus, make sure he wasn't walking. Like, that's just a big deal. But my concern throughout this whole camp was Isaiah Ward's been dinged up. But apparently Jacob Lane is showing very well with the ones right now. And that's encouraging because if you have the depth of all three guys, when you lose Russell Davis the third, I mean, I was really counting on Russell Davis to turn it up another notch this year after what he did at the end of last season. And it really sucks. Arizona kid, uh, a record holder for single season sacks in the state of Arizona as a few years ago. Doesn't get to play this year, and that is absolutely tragic. And we just need the depth of this group to step up. X Alexander has been getting some edge reps. And he's a linebacker by trade, came from UCF, his local kid. Um, the freshman, Devin Hyde, who I actually thought was a really sneaky pickup in the recruiting class last year. He's there. The kid from Michigan, what's his name? Hayden Moore?
Yeah,
He's been getting some edge play. So honestly, it's not like a big name group right now. But if the sum of the parts, sum of all their parts is a competent edge room that can set the edge, get pressure on the quarterback once in a while, like I'll be happy.
Yeah, this is the question mark group of the defense. Zach Durfee, obviously, we just don't know. Um, Everybody else, Jacob Lane is shown, Isaiah Ward is shown a little bit, but there's just, you think of the sack man and Braylon Trice, and you're just not going to get that kind of production out of this group. What you can get, is Deshaun Lynch. Hopefully can set the edge. Like who was the defensive end? They kept moving him inside when he was there. He would Benning Putoai, where he kind of played the inside and the outside, and he wasn't a pass rusher, but he set the edge and he didn't allow things to. He was pretty disciplined when it comes to staying in his lane for cutbacks and things like that. So if they can kind of hold the line, allow the the defensive line to push the pocket back, you're going to see a lot more maybe coverage sacks, and then with this conference, man, it's just so crazy how much it predicates on stopping the run. And if these bodies can stop the run, however they decide to do it, I think that you can see, like you mentioned, a couple of guys in the defensive line and the interior that could pop out. If they can go heavy like that and they can stop the run, I don't have a lot of confidence in a ton of the quarterbacks on this schedule to beat Washington's secondary. So if they can just be good enough to disrupt, get a sack here and there, and not allow running backs to get into the secondary, that's kind of what I hope out of this edge.
And so we'll talk about the front a little bit, like walking up and having like a five front, where it looks like, it's 3-4, but you've got three down linemen, a couple guys walked up that are like combo edge players, outside linebackers, defensive ends. Um, the biggest thing for us in these moments is if you're going to come up and be aggressive, you got to get home. And it's going to be interesting to see like the body types they use at quote end. If you're in a three front, five front, do we bump to a five technique? Do we pinch into a four eye and then just bring pressure off the edges? Whether it's an outside linebacker, safety blitz, corner blitz, stuff like that. So I think there's going to be kind of multiple with the front. I think eventually what the home base is going to be is three down linemen and a couple edge guys. But they have freedom in this system. I just know that he's going to want to bring pressure, whether it's ends at a five technique or squeezed in with like a couple of four eyes that are sort of playing the in between there, occupying offensive linemen, giving them different looks, confusing them, and then making it difficult when it's the fourth quarter and they're tired and they don't know where guys are going to line up or if they're going to shift or whatever than that, and then just making a mistake.
Hopefully, we can keep the unit healthy, and maybe we'll see some flashes of brilliance
Please
from
God.
Zach
Please.
Durfee.
It was so bad last year, and every time we thought we had a hero, they'd go down.
Yeah,
I
every
mean,
time.
we couldn't set an edge. We couldn't rush the passer at times. I would have killed for an Everett Thompson last year. Big, lengthy dude that would just do his freaking job, never get beat, always set the edge, get some pass rush in there. And we were so short on bodies with all the injuries. It was just a nightmare.
So we'll move on to linebackers. We pretty much lost the presumptive captain of the linebacking group with Carson Bruner graduating and moving on to the NFL. So who's going to show up big this year? Who's the next crop?
This is a really fun group. This is. It's weird to say after losing Alfonso Tupatala and Carson Bruner that I like this room a lot
And
more
Kamari
this year.
House.
And Kamari House, yeah.
Is
He made a really good play. Um, Buda Ukta from WSU, that's a really good pickup. I watched Jacob Manu move pretty well. I don't think they're going to see him till towards the end of the season. But maybe my favorite, I'm no one can take him because I'm going to take him now. Like my unsung MVP is going to be Devin Bryant. I
you
think that
son of a bitch. I've been talking about Devin Bryant for like 3 years
bro,
now, man.
he is like he was his tape. He was really fast in high school. He's bigger now. He's faster now. Uh, he's a Chris Peterson throwback. Like I love watching him play linebacker, and he's gonna force himself into the starting spot. One of those starting spot, whatever. He's gonna be in the rotation a lot. He's running with the ones right now, and I don't think that's going to change for the rest of his career as long as he stays healthy. And then the X-Ray Alexander, if you got to throw him in as a pass rusher, he's a really talented player that's big enough that he can do. He's 6'2", 223, like he can play that as well. He's a really good athlete, and then like all these really good freshmen behind him.
Dude,
It's an embarrassment of riches at the linebacking spot, which you're in the Big Ten. You got to have a lot of good linebackers.
if Zay Rainey Sale had not injured his knee last year, he would be in the running for either a starting spot, maybe, or definitely. And it sounds like he's coming along really well, and we'll probably see him at some point this year. I don't know how early, but I mean, then you got guys like,
I didn't even mention Anthony Ward.
no, uh, some of the younger guys like Epperson and Donovan
Hmm.
Robinson Jr. and like just absolute studs. Epperson's from Auburn, Washington, but he went to the wrong high school, so we won't hold that against him.
So that sounds like a pretty loaded room, though. You guys are both pretty high on that room.
Yeah, a combination of like some dudes that are for now and some guys that are for later. It's a really good combination. And Jacob Manu, we knew he was injured coming in, but being in that room with those guys, the veteran presence, and then he's just working his way back to getting healthy. He's going to pay off down the road.
Oh yeah, I mean he was all Pac-12 the last year, the Pac-12, and even if he doesn't, even if he doesn't play that this year, that means that you have him again for next year if he only gets to 5 games, maybe 6 if we make the playoff.
You can play 5 or 6 games and still redshirt. Is that the
You
rule?
can play 4. You can. I'm saying a playoff game or 2. I keep winking at you guys. Sorry.
I just thought it was a tick.
Your video is frozen, so I can't even see your face, Trev. You're
Oh,
just
Really?
sorry.
all I can see is his Mariners hat, which makes me sad.
It's a purple Mariners hat
Yeah, there
because
you go.
my son saw it at the store and said, "Dad likes purple."
Oh, Dad does like purple.
Yeah,
It's a
that was
purple
Father's
house.
Day. That was my Father's Day present.
We love. So that sounds like we have not only like, yes, we lost some really big dudes, but also we have reloaded and we also have really good kids there and we have young guys too that are coming up too.
It's just a healthy, like a program healthy room.
That's awesome. Would you say that's the strength of the defense is the linebackers in terms of which rooms?
That's a tough one. You got secondary, you got interior defensive
Yeah.
line. I don't know, man.
It
It's a good
feels like
problem
the
to have.
offense, right? The edge is the offensive line. Everything else I feel pretty good about.
Okay. That's That's a big change from last year, though. If you think about like going back in time, we were talking about the defense this time last year. We were kind of like, oh, I don't know. We got to keep the thing healthy, and if anybody goes down, this could be a really
When
bad.
we were doing our preview stuff last year, we there's no way we could have known how thin we would be by mid-season.
Yeah.
And maybe we were a little too optimistic coming off the national championship run. But looking at this objectively, I wouldn't say this is like a Bama roster, classic Bama roster or whatever like that. But there's just strength all over the place, and there's depth all over the place. And you still have to have guys that can step up and make plays and play like stars. But our baseline last year was like down here, and now it's like way up
Not too
here.
rough. What do you attribute the? I mean, is it just the getting guys out of the transfer portal? Is it a little bit of coaching? Is it a product of both? What do you think?
Portal was huge this year, and our recruiting class was really good.
That's what
And
makes it a healthy roster too, is
yeah,
you have guys that are from the high school ranks, kind of like what Jedd Fisch said when he got hired, right? The transfer portal is like free agency, but the way you build a successful program is through high school. And that's kind of what he did in year two. Like they went out and they got some guys that are going to fill a need this year and next year, and then they got guys that are going to help this program for the next 4 or 5. So that's exactly what you want in a team that, like, again, this is going to be a much better season than last year, but there's another level that this team can still get to, another couple levels, I think.
Hmm.
So let's move on to the corners. What do we think about that unit? Trevor's smiling already. I love this.
Just
He
I
wants to
like
do so
Paul.
hard, and we're all ready.
Dude, I'm trying to hold it in until next week, but we have two cornerbacks that coach called them Ephesians Pricesock of praying mantis last year, and then we just got another one that's better. So I mean, the outside, if Ephesians Pricesock can make the jump with to 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 be better than he was last year with Takario Davis, your outsides are really good. And then you got some really interesting guys to fill that slot. And Coach Fisch said that basically he's going to play the best five defensive backs. We're talking about corners and safeties. Corners and safeties is potato in some ways with some of these players. Like, I think that Dyson McCutcheon is listed as a safety, but he's probably going to play the nickel, right? So looking at that nickel spot, you have the guy from Rainier Beach, the darling of spring practice, Rayshawn Clark. But the guy that keeps making plays that is on every practice report is Leroy Bryant. So like, there's just a lot of really good players, but the outside, you can write those guys in with Sharpie. Can't hear you, Coach.
Sorry, my mic disconnected. Takario Davis is a kid that they fully expect to be like a top 45 draft pick next year,
Yeah.
if not better. Just conservatively, you never know how things go. Ephesians Priceock struggled last year, just kind of, growing into the position. I thought footwork issues occasionally. He got turned around a couple times. I thought he was making some good progress last year. I think the Sun Bowl, he had some plays on tape that he probably wish he could have back. But another year, I think that his talent is there. He's one of those guys that's always got the option someday that if corner doesn't work out, he can move over to free safety, right? Because he's got this ginormous wingspan. He's got all this ability to just kind of take space, right? Um, the most talented quarterback right now might be Dylan Robinson.
He's big too.
He's a big, freakish athlete, and I know they want to play him this year. I don't think there's any way they're going to redshirt him. But if someone misses a game or like gets nicked up, dude, you do not want this kid breathing down your neck because you might not get back into the starting lineup. And what you said about, oh gosh, Leroy. Been waiting for him for a couple years. It sounds like he's really made a step. I know that everybody in spring, we were all excited about Rayshawn Clark, and we should be because he's a dude. But I think like hasn't he been dinged up a little bit in fall camp?
I think so.
He's so talented. I mean, we've got so many young guys that can just become stars in the next couple years. Elias Johnson, big, tall, rangy corner. Like he'll make a play and then he'll give up a big play. We saw that in the spring game. But there's talent there, and there's obviously the frame. Ramones Adams Jr. I don't know how to say the kid's first name. Clemens, Darian Clemens. I don't know.
Yes.
They got some really talented young kids. But that veteran group right now, they need to do some work. Like they really, if this defense is going to be what we want it to be, they have to clean up on the back end because they're going to be on an island a lot.
On the outside, they can do it. Like, there's no there. You saw it from Ephesians Priceock last year in spurts, and Takario Davis again is going to be an NFL player with his name called in the first two rounds probably. So there's definitely guys that can do it, and then you see the guys that are behind them that are going to fill those roles because those two guys, especially on the outside, are seniors. And so Dylan Robinson is definitely going to get to play this year because, I think this team understands that they could be really, really good this year. But the year after that, that could be a special year. And so you need those guys to get those playing time now, which could lead to seeing those guys even burn their red shirt if the opportunity arises.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another unit that sounds like not only do we have really good guys now, but it sounds like we're getting really well prepared for future runs too. in
And it's
in
like there's two guys that are for sure gonna get their roles are done, right? They're going to be outside, but there's guys behind them, and then there's like three guys that are all playing for that one spot, as an official corner spot, as in the nickel, and it's kind of pick your poison. Like Leroy Bryant continues to like refuse to be buried on the depth chart. Dyson McCutcheon's been in the program a really long time, and he's really fundamentally sound. He's just smaller than the other guys. And then you have Rashawn Clark, who can play safety. He can play cornerback. He can kind of do whatever he wants.
He could probably play receiver. He
He
could
could
return
play
kickoff.
receiver. Yeah, he could even like
Talented kid, man.
6 foot, almost 200 pounds. Like you could see him like move up into the box a little bit. Like he's so versatile. So it's really whatever they need. I think honestly you're gonna see like whatever guy's skill set fits the team they're playing is gonna get the bulk of the snaps.
It's fun. It's really fun to think about, and we'll just see how it all kind of unfolds. Whew.
I'm like loving the Doog flavor of this podcast so far tonight, you guys. I'm getting pretty fired up for this. So let's close it out and talk about the safeties and what we think about that room and what's how good are they going to be this year?
I had no idea, and being, living in the state of Arizona, I am sorry, Alex McLaughlin, I was not familiar with your game. The NAU transfer, and I've been up to NAU several times with for camps with like high school teams and stuff. I've seen a couple games up there, but I haven't been up there to like check them out recently. And when I saw that we grabbed him in the portal, and I was like, huh, piece. And that son of a bitch, no offense to him, has just completely taken a starting spot, and he's making plays in the secondary. He's making plays at the line of scrimmage. He's tackling. He's hitting. He's taking the ball away. Of course, you've got the mainstay, Mikel Esteen, who's going to play center field a lot of the time. Vince Holmes is still in that rotation, but I know C.J. Christian came in, and for a while there it looked like he was going to be a starter. Now he's probably going to be in the rotation. I'm telling you right now, I do this every couple years. I tell you about some fantastic prep player from the desert out here that is going to become a future star. The Batman, Dillard Allen. I've seen him in 7-on-7s. I've watched all of his film. He's a different cat. I cannot tell you this physical stature. He's not the tallest kid in the world, but he's put together. He is so fast. He is so agile. He is so instinctive. He is so smart, and he doesn't get rattled.
He rattles. He's the one that started one of the big fights.
Yeah. So I'm just going to call it now. Whether it's this year or it's the next 3 years, he will be an NFL Sunday player. Calling it right now for the whole world to see.
Say his name again.
Clip it. I'm just going to call him
name?
Batman. Rylan Dillard Allen is a future NFL stud. He is a beast. I can't. And listen, I know I have a tendency to favor some of the kids that are here in the valley, but I only talk about the really, really good ones. I'm not ever messing around. But a lot of times, it's kids I see, either on the field or on sevens or just word of mouth, and then I check them
Your
out.
track record's pretty good.
It's pretty darn good.
With
I remember
Arizona.
when
Pretty good.
you were talking about that kid who they said was too small, Parker
Yeah,
Brailsford.
too small to play center.
What did I say about him?
You said he was a stud.
The most impressive left tackle I had ever seen in a live game, and he's a freaking center. But we talked about Russell Davis in his record-breaking year, and Parker didn't break a sweat that game. Parker, he made him look like he was going to NAU instead of, the Pac-12 or the Big Ten. Like, he was invisible for an entire freaking game. And I talked to his dad before the game, and then I saw him after, and I was like, that was different, man. That was just different. He's smiling from ear to ear. Like I'd never seen an offensive lineman do that to a D1 player like that. Like it was just like he was bored. But yeah, and then obviously
Jalen,
this
Batman.
quarterback. There's this quarterback that we've got that's pretty good, and I may have seen him a few times. But yeah, and then the kid at USC right now, Deuce Robinson, and also the other kid they've got. Oh man, the kid from Red Mountain. They used to kill us every year. I'm drawing Malachi. No, yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. The big 6'5" kid who is just a freak of nature, and he's also playing at USC. Like, there's some different cats out here.
Are we ready to talk about who our defensive NBPs are?
Trevor, I'm going to tell you right now, whoever Trevor picks is going to be a first team Big Ten selection.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Jeez, there's a lot of really good ones, but I don't think you have to look farther than Takario Davis. I think that he shuts down a side of the field. That field is not open. A quarterback in this conference is going to test him, and the quarterbacks in this conference just aren't good enough to do that. And that's going to lead to a handful of interceptions, but a lot of games where take it to basketball, it's like when Matisse Thybulle took away half the court. He's going to take
Yeah.
away half the field. He's just going to take away a sideline. So that's going to be my guy.
And also, I said Malachi. I meant Jacoby Lane. I don't know why I said Malachi. I was thinking of Malachi Nelson. But yeah, we faced that kid a bunch, and he's a stud. So you brought up Takario, and that's an obviously great pick there. I am so interested to see how we cover Joe Smith in the Ohio State game. Maybe the best receiver in college football,
Yeah,
and he's a
he really
beast.
is.
And are we just gonna send Takario wherever he goes? Are we going to just play it by his side? The kid lines up in the slot. I don't know how we match up, but it's going to be really, I mean, that could be like a money game for him. Like he can make a lot of money in that game if he does a really good job against that kid. Because that kid's freakish and that kid's special, and he's going to be like if he was allowed to come out as a freshman, he would have been a top 3 pick.
Yeah,
He
Like
might have been my most favorite player to watch on January 1st just because of what he single-handedly did to the Ducks. Absolutely. Chef's kiss. Oh, all day, all day.
I think like I'll be rooting against him next month in person, but if there was ever a moment where he came over to the sidelines, I would just want to shake his hand and say thank you for what you did to the Ducks. And
100.
continue that effort, my friend, because they deserve it in every way, shape, or form.
And don't
Um,
and no mercy. Let's just be honest about that.
yeah. So, but I have to make a pick, and it's
Yes,
not
sir.
Sicario. So, listen, it's now or never, Mr. Durfee. It's now or never. I think a healthy Zach Durfee will completely change the fortunes of this team. And being if he becomes an alpha on the edge there, and we've got all that support around him, next thing you know, guys like Buddha, guys like just name them, they're all going to just be able to roam free and be better. If you've got a double team, if you've got to chip a guy like that, then all of a sudden your passing game isn't as good. So if Zach Durfee becomes even like a second teamer in the Big Ten, we're gonna we're gonna win a lot of games.
I
dude,
agree with you.
if he ends up being the defensive MVP, this team's at worst 10-2.
We're going streaking.
Jeez.
Do it.
So I guess I'm last, and I actually can't believe this guy's still on the table, but I'm gonna go opposite Trevor. I'm gonna say Efi is gonna have a breakout year. He could have had a lot more productive year last year, and he didn't. And I'm sure that that is eating away at him. And I'm looking for him to have a monster year. So he's gonna be my defensive MVP. But I like both of your MVPs, and I really hope I do think that's indicative, Coach. If Durf has a great year, we've had a very good year.
Absolutely. Even the year even 2023, we didn't necessarily have the most fearsome defense, the pass rush, but it was all on one guy, right? And that dude will be making his NFL debut this year.
Let's go, dude.
Oh, I cannot wait to see him play. But it was either he's going to get some pressure or we're just going to have to piece it together, man. DTF has some good moments, but the consistency was Braylon Trice is going to go out there. He's going to get held about 10 times a game, and there's not going to be any flags. He's going to bull rush into the pocket. He's going to flush people out, force them to guys like, Raylan Goforth and whatnot, just, roaming around, picking up his scraps. But man, we need at least a Braylon Trice effort for Mr. Durfee this year.
Absolutely. Sidebar, is Braylon the most held player to your recent memory?
Listen, I've seen teddy bears with first grade girls who were held less than Braylon Trice was during like it was just mind but like in Vegas where he came off the line and like they really just like tore him down to the ground in front of the ref, and then they rolled out and got a big play and like made the game close at the end, and Braylon gets up, he's looking around like nothing really. They literally just they're sled dogging him all the way to the ground, and it's just like the Michigan game.
Mm.
The Michigan game.
Are we going to
My
change the
God,
rule
two
about gloves?
long touchdowns by Edwards because Braylon's been, you know, and he's just one of those guys that like they're like you can handle it, you're fine. That's like if like a 7-footer was playing like open gym or like a little tournament like LA Fitness or whatever, and guys are hanging all over him because there's a bunch of 6'2" guys like trying to hang on to him, and he's like, dude, I'm getting fouled, and the ref's like, you're 7 feet tall, shut up, shut up. Like you're better than these guys.
That happens all the time. You're not wrong. Okay, so let's close it out and talk about unsung hero on the defense.
Well, mine's Devin Bryan. I already took it.
Oh,
Yeah.
them's fighting
Yeah.
words.
I'll tell you what, my friend, and I mean former friend because you took my guy. Um, I honestly want to see Mikel go out in style. Last year, I want to see Mikel captain the back end of the secondary. I want him to get more interceptions. I want him to force more turnovers. But most of all, I want him to be in the right spot at the right time. And if anything is getting past our two condors at corner, I want him to be the cleanup guy.
Absolutely. Well, I blame
Mm.
Trevor for that one because that was mine, but because he's
Oh,
the coaches, then I didn't get to take Kel. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Jacob Manu is going to get healthy enough to make an impact this year. He's not going to play in
mm.
every game, but he is going to be an unsung hero on the defense.
But that linebacker room was so much fun.
Yeah. It's not like we had a bad linebacker room last year, but then we lost everybody and like, oh, doom and gloom. And then Buddha comes in, and Buddha was like a double commit because not only is he a good player that we absolutely needed, but the
Go away.
Coug the Coug chagrin, they've already had enough of us, and then we take their best linebacker, and you know, I, listen, I don't hate the Cougs. How can you hate little brother?
Hard to hate somebody that you beat 70% of the time.
And listen, they had last year. That's cool. We ran the slow quarterback and the near side option play at the goal line.
To
Not sure
Drew as
why.
a party side.
Not sure why. Not sure why. Uh, I can't believe Leah didn't pick Drew, honestly. But it's like
He's on.
I know he's offense, but like honorable mention, Drew as a party.
I mean,
Maybe he gets
this
some.
is this
Maybe
isn't
maybe our
true.
edge room
Can't.
really needs another guy.
Not your starting right tackle.
I mean, all I heard from last week is that Party is ruining the good name of Drew.
Listen, I'd like to blame it on drinking, but I was completely sober.
You guys are too much. Well, that will do it for another episode of Fourth and Inches. We are going to be back in your ears next week. We're going to be talking about, I think, the subject that we're really itching to talk about, which is predictions, going through game by game, making our final guesses about what's going to happen in the 2025 season. And I know that Doom texts will come, but right now I feel pretty good about it, about the season. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, we left out the most important part of the defense, the punter.
Oh, you're right.
And if we're going to get excited about stealing a Coug, we might as well celebrate the fact that we stole Oregon punter Luke Dunn.
That's
I don't know
true.
if he's that good. I know he's got a strong leg. It's always an adventure kicking on Montlake, but we've seen some crap. We've seen some things the last few years, and I just I really want Luke to be the embodiment of consistency and special teams dominance.
May he have his best game in our last regular season game.
I don't want him
Hopefully
to.
he doesn't play.
I don't want to see. I don't want him to see the field against Oregon. I don't want him to
DNP.
score every time.
Well, sure, but realistically, we probably will punt at least once. So
That's stinking thinking right there.
Yeah, let's go. This is preseason pod.
What are we doing here, Leah?
70-21.
I just told you that Doom texts will come. Apparently, Doom comments will come on the podcast,
You shut your poop mouth right now.
right?
No, don't do
Gosh. Yes, well, I'll go ahead and do that. But we are going to come back next week and talk about game by game predictions. Hopefully, we all are thinking Trevor style and say 12-0, right?
that.
And
No.
the more of us that pick that, the more Ducks can hate listen to our podcast.
You know what Trevor's prediction is? Just write it down, folks. Write it down now. We're gonna win every single game except for at UCLA.
Hashtag shout out Hooligan because Hooligan did say that was going to be one of our losses.
Yeah, he did.
By the way, quick announcement. The STS guys and a few of us and some other people are competing this year in a fantasy football league, and we
What's
will
it
be
called, Coach?
updating. Oh, hold on. We will be updating people throughout the season, unless I'm not doing well, and then we won't talk about it at all. And I just wanted to say the name of the league is, well, it's Dan Lanning's Pool Party.
Oh man, I love it. On that note, we're going to see you next week talking about game by game predictions and maybe a little Doom texting from me or Doom commenting from me. So for Trevor Mueller, Coach V, I'm UW. Go Dogs. Let's go eat some dubs this year.
Go
Go
Dogs.
Dogs.
Shout out JCap.
There it is.